Hi folks, welcome to the Hands Tourney. So we are watching top 16 of the 2023 edition, and since I actually made it this time, we can have a look at one of my games. So just to be clear, this is not live commentary. I'm recording this later, and I'm playing against Lannister, Aloof and Apart, played by Márton, and my deck is unusual for me, playing Baratheon trading with Qohor, so somewhat rushy deck, and we can have a look at the game from my perspective. And quite happy with the start. Actually duped Melisandre and some useful attachments in hand against just Cersei, so Márton knows that march to the wall is unlikely in this one. But we'll see if he allows me to kneel Melisandre, to use Melisandre to kneel Cersei. Then this could be good. And we're going for the Maiden first for initiative, because we need to control that. We have the Warhammers for Intimidate in this deck. And I'm already looking at, that's Richard Horp in hand as the character that can do that, but unfortunately Márton doesn't allow me that in the first round, so he wins initiative randomly with the Maiden. That's always going to happen. I don't think I've ever won one at random in any game. And okay, Stannis means I have an alternative character if I want it. Let's see how the gold works out. And yeah, this is besides Cersei non-kneeling, big reason why Márton wanted to go first, I guess. Milk Melisandre immediately, and there goes that plan. And I don't have an obvious way to get rid of it. No Crescent in this deck. And is something annoying going to come out? Because just Cersei I can kind of survive, I think. Another non-kneeler. So now it will be really important to go first, I think. And Chiswick, okay. 2 gold left, which could be problematic, so I need to defend against some stuff. And now let's make the calculation here. So if we kneel both reducers, that would be 8 gold basically. And Stannis with Warhammer is all we could get from that. But if we wanted a 2-cost attachment, then it will have to be Richard here. Now what's the best option? So Lightbringer to stand him is one option. We could Hunting Accident. Cersei is not going to kneel if she gets that in marshalling. And then Red God's Blessing makes characters pretty big. It's very tradable for something else. I still haven't quite made up my mind. If I had 2 attachments with cost 1, I might have played those. So it's either Stannis with a Warhammer or Richard with one of the Roll cards, right? Lightbringer can stand him, but then Red God's Blessing is an immediate +2. And there we are. Can be traded for a Lightbringer. There is another one in the deck. So quite important to know exactly what attachments are in the deck when you play this agenda. I have 18, and the 2 cost attachments can be traded. Red God's Blessing can be traded for Lightbringer and Hunting Accident. 1 coster's Warhammer for Bodyguard Milk Seized. Then you have a copy of Seal of the Hand that works with Zora High Reborn. Then of course you can always trade down as well. So Cersei does her thing. Slightly worried about win by 5, but nothing happens to me. And yeah, sad to see Lightbringer go. But okay, good to have power on the faction card to steal. And currently hand size is still equal, so Umbrella is not going to kneel. And is there any worry about this one? I have 2 reducers. I don't want to kneel Sir Richard Thorpe on defense because he would ideally want to have Lightbringer to stand and immediately gain power. And discarding Milk, which is interesting. So that's not from hand, right? It's from the top of the deck, so yeah. Don't know what gets discarded in advance. I still think just letting this go is the right thing to do. Free challenge now for Missile, of course, because of the draw. Yeah, losing Lightbringer, not nice, because you want attachments in your deck to get the loop. You want to trade for Lightbringer and then out of Lightbringer again into something else. But now we lost the other copy and can only basically do it once. And I have Hunting Accident in hand as well. There's just 1 copy in the deck, so if I somehow manage to get Cersei to kneel, unfortunately, couldn't trade for Hunting Accident. Yeah. Expected something to happen with that 2 gold. Now if he stands with Lightbringer, then I would have enough to win the power challenge as well. That was my thinking here. Actually, he loses some strength for Red God's Blessing. Okay, that's 10 against 11, but he can... How can he? He cannot put any power on himself for his ability. Okay, so we can still do it if we get Cersei to kneel on defense. But she doesn't bite. And now what? There is only 1 attachment, but that Lightbringer is alright on Richard. Don't really want to lose that. And is there any point attacking? Cersei defends alone, and I still lose dominance, so no real point. But there doesn't seem to be any harm either, because she doesn't have renown or anything. Yeah, Márton doesn't fall into any traps. He knows that there are none. And I guess it's a decent round for both players, but that milk really hurts on Melisandre. Okay, now we have a slight embarrassment because I use Richard Harp so rarely. I have no clue exactly how you're supposed to click that, and I messed it up. I wanted to move power from him to the faction card, and I clicked on the faction card first. And, yeah, just left it there in the end, which well, you'll see in the remainder of the game actually that the strength on Richard is important, but I didn't want to have it there because any reset now just gets rid of him, right? Well, the Harris, I guess he could survive that with Melisandre still, but Lenny Aloof is not playing the Harris. Yeah, we don't really have time to check all of my plots here and comment on them, but supporting the fight because of that Stannis in hand. We want basically the gold to marshal big stuff if we can, or the little ones and some further attachments. That's equally good, and it stops any challenges phase nonsense as well most of the time. Lannister, I guess, could still be annoying with some Helen Halls and stuff like that. Unfortunately, still not amazing gold. We have gold for one attachment, which could be Warhammer. We're going first, and he is big and can intimidate. But I'm looking at milking Cersei, of course. Not a bad idea. And putting it on Richard because he stands with Lightbringer and can intimidate twice. Yeah, transferring Lightbringer onto Stannis would have been alright, but we lost the other copy, as you remember. And now what is coming here? Something big. Yeah, at least supporting the fight means that Márton can just leave the gold to make Tywin super huge. But unfortunately, I can probably kneel them or force them to defend with that Warhammer threat, but they're not going to stay knelt like I'm used to with Baratheon. Have your Robert that stops them standing, or some kind of withering cold and stuff like that. Not that type of deck, unfortunately. And if Márton doesn't want to waste the gold, he'll play something else, and then Myrcella is kneeling, which is also good. Yeah, protection from Morghulis now. Cersei survives, Tywin survives, and if you can play it offensively, then I basically need to get a bodyguard in play. To match that, I need to get it on Melisandre and Stannis. Unfortunately, Richard is not a lord. I had 3 copies in an earlier draft, and then I checked some decks for inspiration, like the one that made top 16 at Stalek, played by Victor Marquina, and didn't play Richard Harp at all. And then I thought, okay, maybe not such a great idea, let's go 1 copy. And he's a lore character, which is nice, but can't get the bodyguard. That really hurts. So just thinking of the sequence here. Ideally, we wouldn't want to put him into a losing challenge, because he needs to stand with Lightbringer, and I calculated I have 13 on the military, which is enough to push it through if there is nothing in hand. And we can get Cersei, who is the biggest character. Can't trade attachments yet, we need both Lightbringer and Warhammer. Cersei, and then if we could also get Tywin. that would be alright. But on the power challenge we have 7. So I would need to attack with both Richard and Melisandre here. Also not a disaster to concede some challenges. It is Late Summer Feast after all, so not that bad. And if Richard alone defends, attacks I mean on the power challenge, then yeah, kneeling Tywin for defense is alright. Kneeling Myrcella even better, because then I can also intimidate Bronn. If both Tywin and Myrcella defend, then I lose the power challenge, but I get a card for Late Summer Feast. So some decent options. Going for both, which makes sure that they win and intimidate one character. But now if Márton leaves it unopposed, I intimidate Tywin and he has Myrcella and Bronn and can do 2 challenges. Thatcher, yeah. Supporting the fight saved me there, because that on the Lightbringer would have been quite a terrible round for me, I think. I also get a card for Stannis if I win power, which is something I tend to forget. He's here because he's big, basically, and works with the attachments nicely. Sometimes his ability will do stuff. No other draw. I had Set Down Our Deeds originally. I thought, okay, grab some power, and then if it looks like I'll run out of steam against decks that play the long game, just get a massive draw. That's how I play Bara Control, but I don't know. I played that little mini game on Thrones DB where you do a bunch of hypothetical setups, and round 1 marshalling and Set Down Our Deeds in hand early on. I didn't want that. I wanted cards that can immediately try to win the game. So I dropped it. That's another thing. I basically copied from other decks that I saw, and I don't really regret it. So we have an option here. We have to keep Warhammer for sure to intimidate Tywin now, but if we lose Lightbringer, he's not going to get the power, Richard, but or he's going to get the power because he has Renown. He's not going to get the stand, but that's limit 1s anyway. The problem is that's my second Lightbringer gone to the discard pile, and I'm not getting it back, so can I afford to lose it here, or do I pass? And deciding to lose it and trading down for bodyguard on Stannis, just in case Márton pulls the trigger on Morghulis. And now my stand, unfortunately, slightly trickier, but I do still have a 2-cost attachment, so if I keep that now against Intrigue Claim, I will be marshalling that and can trade it. And the 3-coster, okay, it's not a Rolor attachment, so even I don't have Silici, but even if I did, it's not reduced and difficult to pay for it sometimes. But now when I have a board like this, I can play it, I can use it once, then get traded for Azor High Reborn, and if that's on Richard, that's great. Then doesn't even need Lightbringer. He has printed Renown and can participate in everything with Warhammer as well. So that would be really nice. And Márton takes dominance. Doesn't do another challenge to give me any more cards. He is ahead. He's quite fast himself, but I feel like if I can win initiative, he is in trouble. Because I have the strength to intimidate Cersei before she does a challenge. Of course, she's going to do her plot phase stuff, right? Heads and spikes. She usually does. Just looking at the plots there. So king in the north. Tricky when you want those bodyguards to work. And so the smith has good gold. Can always be played. Close call. I've never really had an opportunity to reveal. And we have the Mad King's command, but okay, that probably wins initiative and lets you intimidate and stuff, but you want Lannister in play for that, ideally, to get an additional nil. And going for coppers, which gives me some time to marshal Shira, who can intercept that power from Sir Richard Horp. And there's Allister, so do we have the gold? So first of all, we need to near some econ. Have two attachments that can do that. Then Márton will, use the other one. That's actually worked out alright, because he needs all he can get on Copper's turn. And I may as well get that Goldman as well. He has so many cards, can try to dig. Now 8 and 9 if I use the reducer. So that's just about enough for Allister, Shira and Seal of the Hand. Would be nice if I had 1 gold more. Get a milk as well. So I'm calculating everything, because if I'm not using the gold, then it's stupid to kneel the reducer. That would be the first thing that happens, basically. I can draw a card first, because I'm marshalling Shira. So see what this is. And there we go. Now we have an extra gold. So that's worked out really nicely. We can get Shira for free. And Seal of the Hand and milk. And milk on Tywin on coppers is really nice. It really limits the gold here for Márton. And now I'm pretty good against Morghulis. Have Shira who can intercept Richard's power, and the last plot that I have not mentioned, of course, is Heir to the Iron Throne. So I can trade Allister for something else, for a duplicate or Shireen. Usually those are the targets, or trading something else into Allister, and then I can get a nil from that as well. Card in Shadows means I have to play around pinch probably. But should be able to do that now, right? So we have Seal of the Hand on Stannis, and we have Richard, who can get Azor Ahai Reborn with his Warhammer. So if they both attack, then Stannis stands. I don't think there is a way to defend this. Should be able to win military first of all. Then they can also do power. use this before I get rid of it. Okay, that's the gold gone for pinch, but yeah, didn't want to see that now. That's a lot of strength missing from the power challenge. But he's growing his Richard now. Has to be the guy with renown, right? Stannis is now not even higher strength. Only reason you would choose Stannis is if you expected him to stick around longer than Richard did, of course, because Azor Ahai Reborn is terminal and goes away if Morghulis is revealed. So it's enough to intimidate Cersei, and now that he has that, of course, there's 13 on the intrigue challenge, and then coming for the power challenge with the same as well, and yeah, no solution here for Márton. He may as well defend them now, because if he doesn't, the characters just get intimidated, and he's only conceding further power for unopposed. Any surprises? Yeah, always a worry when you see that. Means he does have options. Or is he just thinking whether to oppose or not? He should oppose if that's the only thing. But there might be a strength boost of some kind. Well, any Iron Bank will have its due. Of course, makes Tywin bigger if there is no milk, but not at the moment. Okay, now Márton can win on defense. That's not something I wanted to see. Really unusual card to see these days. They defend with 14, but that's not quite enough actually, because of Richard's ability. And remember when I messed up that trigger and didn't take power away from him when I wanted to. Now that actually means he can get to 14 strength for me here, and I can still win. Okay, can't really trade anything now, but I can just do the power and get rid of Myrcella as well. Now if Márton won this on defense, then I could still just do the power and Myrcella would have to defend, right? So I don't know. I guess he thought it was enough, but defending with all three, I guess, was the play. He would win on defense, stop in trick claim, but then power would be unopposed, so not hugely better, but just slightly. And now I can consider that Warhammer because there's nothing else to intimidate this round. But is there a card that I can use? Bodyguard doesn't go on Richard, so Milk is the other one I have. Could Milk Cersei because she is always a threat. She can do heads on spikes or something. But I need to have a way to get Warhammer back, I think. So there's another one in the deck. It's such an important card here. Yeah, so that takes me up to 11, but most of the power is on Richard. So if a reset happens and he goes away, I'm in trouble. Happy to see that Shira there. And now what? So we have air, but we also have Mad King's Command, which is potentially a closer, and now we have Allister. So his two characters, Cersei and Tywin, pretty good, but both milked now. My three characters are amazing here. Richard, Stannis and Melisandre, more than enough, and I have all the attachments, and Alistair goes away for Mad King's Command and Nils something, so seems like I could close the game here. I could also just play air. That's possibly losing initiative. Yeah, but with Morghulis seems like it was the right call. And let's see what we get. We can... okay, so Robert and Silisi just die. We can dupe Stannis, but he has Bodyguard, so it's not super urgent. We can play Shireen. We can play Shireen, which means Alistair Nils one, Shireen Nils another, and that's an amazing round. And have to sack Alistair at this point. We can't wait for him to get killed, and there's another one in hand anyway, so you want to sack him here. So Bronn can potentially save another character, so saves Myrcella, I guess. And now Shireen should be able to nail Tywin. Yeah, Morghulis is the one plot where I can actually win initiative even with air. And Shira sacrifices herself to protect the power from Sir Richard Thorpe. That's an amazing result for me there. Some multiple copies of Shira in one of the decks that I checked before building this one, and can see why she's so important. And now what do we do? So 2 treachery is gone. Seems like Imri probably can win the game, right? Could also go for a hunting accident, which can be traded. And Silisi is there, but there's nothing for her to reduce, so there's no real reason to marshal her. $7 gold to work with. I think Imri to cost attachment and Infiltrator if somehow the game is still alive. I can even use his ability. That's probably the play. Yeah, I have enough power icons. Just in case there's another Defiance. So I can try to win this cleanly with just the Qohor stuff. And if it doesn't work, I can trigger Imri, I think, this round to win the game. Or I could be patient, and if it looks like I can't close, I could take it into another round. There's not going to be another Morghulis, and then I can try with Imri. So several options. I'm thinking this would be difficult to lose now. But I don't have a 3-cost attachment now, so can just get character with renown into several challenges. Stannis doesn't have it, and my Lightbringers are gone. I do have a disputed claim. There's no military icon, so I guess first thing is just military with Imri. It's probably not getting opposed, and then I'm on 12 and I can make the decision whether to kill Imri, to Nil Myrcella and Tyrion. Then I would just win the game, right? Through unopposed and dominance. Or just unopposed and disputed claim, whatever. Okay, it's a thing to do. So going for the win definitely now. Otherwise I would have kept the milk on Tywin probably. So power with disputed claim. He intimidates something. And then, yeah, Melisandre wins unopposed intrigue, whatever happens. And then there's still the Infiltrator and still Imri. So yeah, that went extremely well. So some defiance there and some surprises, but in the end the plots just worked out amazingly well. And yeah, that challenge with Sir Richard Thorpe was nice for me. Okay, so that's top 16, and we can have a look at my top 8 game as well. Hopefully, I need to record commentary, so I'll upload it when I do. And then there was live commentary for the semi-finals and the final as well. So thanks for joining me on this one. See you next time.